Well, good morning to you, everybody. I'm Mark Sudduth here. It is Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. It's Wednesday, sorry. January 7th,
I don't know.
2026. At least I got the year right. And no, that is not CJ. That is not who you might be expecting. That is Jen Nairmore filling in for CJ,
Hi.
helping me to co-host today because CJ is not feeling well. So thanks, Jen, from Southwest Florida, where you're now working on your tornado research. We'll talk about that, but you're going to be helping me today. Thank you. Looks
You
nice
bet.
behind you.
Hey, it's great. I'm loving it. I love the warmth, that's for sure. I went from mid 20s at Ohio to mid to upper 70s down this way. So it's awesome. I'm refreshed, refocused, and ready
Yeah,
to do some history.
indeed. And it's going to be in the 70s here in Wilmington, North Carolina today. And I've got the t-shirt on, feeling great about it. I just, winter weather can be exciting and dramatic. But if it's not going to be, I'd rather it just be warm.
Yes.
And so wish granted. But good to see everybody. Let me pull up the chat over on the old iPhone here and make sure we can keep up with everybody and see who all is joining us today. And always welcome your comments and so forth. Turn the volume down so we don't get feedback. One day we'll be as sophisticated as Weather Brains or something else, and we'll have producers and like Span, he'll have that mic that comes out, and behind him is a studio. I mean, I could fake all that, but
You don't want to go the other way. No, the
right
James would say we're not the best weather podcast, but we are the oldest.
there
So
you go.
20 years, we're about to hit 20 years that Weather Brain's been on the air.
Right, and I think James is like 172 years old or something at
Yeah, he
this
looks
point.
amazing. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
amazing.
so he looks great
He
for
does.
almost 2 centuries old. Well, good to see our folks. I know that Weather Scott, one of our moderators, said that he won't be joining us today, so he'll catch the broadcast later. So behave on the YouTube chat, everybody. You always do. But good to see everybody. Let's jump in and share the screen. I'll show you our topics for today. Warm and foggy. That'll be the first thing we cover, and those two are related, believe it or not. El Nino inbound. We're going to be talking about this more and more, and including today. This El Nino, we're going to transition out of La Nina, and in fact, we're doing so now. So El Nino is coming. What that's going to mean for all kinds of things related to the weather, and then Friday's severe weather threat. Looking forward to hopefully having CJ back tomorrow. I might not be here tomorrow. I'll talk about that in a minute. I got a few things I got to do tomorrow that may preclude a show tomorrow, which we'll see because I want to do Throwback Thursday, but we'll address that towards the end. But we're definitely going to be here Friday because we have a severe weather threat and we do have the slight risk that's up now for day three, which is Friday, so we'll address that. And then the Bears and the Packers game, the Bears, up in Green Bay game update. Spoiler alert, bring your parka, your gloves, your toboggans, because it's going to be cold and snowy, which is exactly what it should be, right, Jen? If it's not cold and
Absolutely.
snowy in Green Bay in January, we got some real problems.
You got it.
So that's the lineup for today. So we'll start off. My favorite, I just like this. It's fun, mainly because I want to see when we can. Nothing against Hidalgo and La Porta and those areas in Southwest Texas, but it seems to be the same locations every day. So this is our national highs and lows. This is for always the day behind. So yesterday, 90 in Hidalgo, Texas. No surprise there. And then finally, a slightly different area of Maine, -8 in, I'm assuming that's Presque, or it's probably French, so I'm probably screwing it up.
Presque. I don't know.
Presque,
I might be
right.
I might be Presque Island. Iowa, I
Presque,
think. Yeah, I don't know. 100%.
Presque, Islay. Anyway, it was -8 there, and there is actually some stuff to show you all on the Google Street View, which we will do in a moment. So, a big part of why I do this segment is to teach you some geography. And if this is the first time you're tuning in, whether you're watching live as it's happening or you're watching later, I want to teach you some stuff. So, the Rio Grande River runs all winding through this area, Hidalgo and La Porta and those areas, very close to Mexico. And as we zoom out, you get an idea of exactly where we're talking about. We'll grab the old telestrator real quick, pull it up. It is over here in south central, southwestern Texas. Texas is so big. It's part of the Rio Grande Valley, put it that way. Not too far from Starbase, Elon Musk's rocket launching playground, and South Padre Island. Yeah, you just go up the Rio Grande, and there you are in beautiful Hidalgo, in Texas. And so, one thing I like to do is grab the Google Street View person and drop them randomly somewhere in the area and just show you what it looks like. So let's just get on the outskirts a little bit over here or whatever. And that's it. So I think the Google up, I've caught them again. And I did not plan this, Jen. The very first time I did this segment with the Google Maps was Gunnison, Colorado, and we caught the Google Maps person having lunch at Taco Bell. Now we've caught the Google Maps person having lunch at Tortas La Central.
That's awesome.
And dude, because there's no reason
No.
that we're Google mapping a parking lot. I
That's
can't see what
awesome.
they're on. Like, the 360 cam, it's hidden.
Hmm.
But let's see if we can see the reflection of the vehicle. You can have a lot of fun with this. In the window here.
A hot
Nope.
Cheeto burger combo? Wow. Hot Cheeto. No,
I
Cheeto.
mean,
I have no
whoever's
idea.
doing this Google
Yeah.
mapping Street View has to eat.
Yes.
So I understand, but that is really, really funny. That let's see if we can move over a little bit in the shot and try to dox this person, see what they're driving. Wait a minute, let's go back. Let's zoom in. So there it is. You can see their vehicle. That's the vehicle that they're in right there. That's the apparatus hidden behind the reserved handicap parking sign. It's a little small car, and they are enjoying a nice meal there at this restaurant, which if you click on it, and look, seriously, this is all about the area and the culture, and you never know, you might find yourself in Hidalgo, Texas, and you can stop by the Tortas La Central #2, get yourself some great Mexican food. They close at 8 p.m., so you got plenty of time. 90 degrees there yesterday, so there you go. That's the whole reason we're talking about it, in case you tuned in. What the hell is going on? Why are we looking at this? That's why. Hidalgo, Texas. You ever been down that way, Jim?
I have not. I have not.
Rio
I'm sure
Grande
I will.
Valley.
Yeah.
Well, tornadoes, they got them down there. Eventually, you might find
Absolutely.
yourself in the Rio Grande
Absolutely.
Valley and vicinity. Beulah, 1967. Hey Siri, what year was Hurricane Beulah?
It happened from September 5th, 1967 to September 22nd,
All right.
1967.
Thank you. We're good.
It's like you work with
Um,
hurricanes or something, Mark.
right. So that was a prolific tornado producer, Hurricane Beulah. And I would assume they were in Texas, a lot of them. So anyway, you might eventually find yourself down in Hidalgo, and if you do, you have to go to La Torta, whatever it was called. All right? All
Well,
right.
hey, real quick, I did a
Yeah,
quick little Google search on, is it Presque Island Isle or Presque Isle or whatever?
right.
And so just real quick, because there's
See what the
several of
chat
them.
says while you're talking.
Yeah, so it says it's pronounced in a few ways, most commonly Presque Isle, rhymes with desk aisle, or
Sure, okay.
Presqu'île with the French K, often softened or dropped in English, so local variations exist. For example, Pennsylvania's park uses Presque, and Michigan's often uses Presqu'île. The French origin means almost an island.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah,
there you go.
there you go.
The entire world's knowledge and a lot of made up stuff too, including the AI slop at our fingertips. An amazing, what a time to be alive.
Right.
So Presqu'île or Presque Isle or Presque, whatever, that's where the national low was. That's why we're talking about it. It was -8. I'll take the 90 over the -8. Thank you very much.
Hmm.
And where is this? This is up in Maine, not too far north of Holton, which is where I was for the eclipse back in 2024. But yeah, it's just south of Caribou, and that's the municipality. It's a rectangle. So there you go. So let's get rid of. Hold on, where did my mouse? There it is. And let's drop our Google Street View person right in the middle. And if this is another restaurant, then you're going to start thinking that I'm planning this stuff. So here we are. We're on State Street and a beautiful, almost Canadian town. This is up in the Northeast. And here you can see the Google Street View vehicle. And let's just drive down this wonderful little New England town. Um, Very old looking overall. Watch out for the people. Don't run over them. And hey, you know what? What's really cool about the Google Street View as you drive, um, and if we can ever get it in a stormy situation, you can run red lights and you don't have the storm chaser cops come after you.
Exactly.
I
And
don't run
even
red lights. I'm not saying, seriously. Now, I
well,
have come to full disclosure, a red light
mhm.
that's just red for too long and there's nobody coming. And I call that an unnecessary red light. And I would argue in court that it must have been malfunctioning. I treated it as a four-way stop and then I proceeded, Your Honor. Anyway, I've done that before, but never have I just blown through one. But anyway, you can do that on Google. And look, exactly. See, it's red and we're going to go right through it. But this is Presque Isle or Presqu'Isle in Maine. Oh, look at that beautiful church. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice area up in New England, and it was -8 for the national low temperature. This picture, Google Street View did this back in September of 2024. And interesting, in September, the leaves weren't starting to change yet.
Mm-mm.
See, always a weather geek. You figure all this stuff out. Must have been early September, very early September, because
Yeah.
the leaves are still very green, as you can clearly see. Actually,
Google,
we switched to August 2022. You just never know.
no, and see, that's the best part about Google Street View is going back into the history. We
Yep.
use this all the time to go look for tornado damage and tornado path swaths and trees down, and we'll use this
Right.
on our narratives. It's
Yep.
really amazing.
So I remember after Hurricane Michael, it wasn't long at all that the Google Street View people came into Mexico Beach. And I mean, it was just a matter of days, I think. And there was a condo where, trying to make this a short story, this is like a little um, excerpt from Stories from the Hurricane Highway, our podcast. So Brent and myself and my friend Tony, we had all gone to Mexico Beach to grab that off the pole that captured that amazing video, and it was secured. We were good to go. We were heading back. That thing was still recording too. We just left it running. But story for a completely other day, and there's a whole documentary about it. But there was this condo that had been ripped apart. The whole bottom floor was gone. A Coast Guard chopper had landed, and or not landed, but they lowered down like a parajumper or whatever they're called. And this guy ran in, and we went over and said, "Any way we can help?" Anyway, he was there to do a well check on a 93-year-old woman who didn't leave. And what he didn't tell us was that also her 23-year-old granddaughter stayed as well with her dog. And so we helped get the grandmother and the young lady out. They got on the basket thing and whisked them away. Left me and Tony and Brent there because we didn't need rescuing, but whatever.
Hmm.
The girl's dog was not allowed on the Coast Guard chopper, and so it remained behind wherever it was. It was also kind of lost. But so my point here is, a few days later, when Google Street View came through, we were looking at it, and the young lady, I think her name was Kristen, spray painted on a piece of plywood, lost dog, the name, and her phone number. And we saw that. We were like, oh, we know who that is because Google Street View had come through. And as you looked around, you could see it, and they hadn't blurred it out on the Google whatever. So there's my Google
Hmm.
Street View story. There was a
Wow.
connection. Like we know the story behind that lost dog. And I bet
Right.
it's still there if you go back to October 2018 Mexico Beach, I bet you could find it.
Wow.
So useless, maybe useful. I don't know. There you go. So that's where the national low temperature was, folks. 90 in Hidalgo, -8 in Presque Isle, Maine. All right, so how about today? What's happening out there today? We'll refresh this to get the most current, up to date. I like this map, Jen, because it shows exactly what's going on in an easy to understand snapshot, at least for me, for the lower 48 plus Alaska and Hawaii. And thankfully, Hawaii, that's a terrible, let's thicken that up a little bit, like Bob Ross on here. There we go. Um, Hawaii looking good. Remember, we had the Kona low. I think I talked about that way back on Monday. And they're looking good out there for now. Alaska, though, a few issues here in the southwestern part, especially through the Aleutians. I do want to click on it. They do, oh, it's extreme cold warning. So, but I want to show you how Alaska, their graphics look different than elsewhere in the lower 48. Like, I don't even know what's happening there. That's just a lot of polygons that I guess it's because of the marine environment, around the Aleutians and whatnot. But look, you click on Alaska and that's what you get. You click on like northern Alabama and it's just more what we're used to. They just do things differently in Alaska for some reason. I'll just show you again. Like it's just different. Everything just has a different look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, fog all throughout these areas, including not far from where you are,
That's
a
right.
little bit foggy. Um, and, so fog is literally a cloud at ground level. There is not something called a cloud and then something completely else called fog. They are synonymous. And you get the fog. Well, you have the degree in meteorology. I'm just a mere geographer who studied meteorology. Explain fog to us.
Oh my word. It's just, well, it's like you said, it's the cloud on the ground. It's essentially due to moist air, and
Right.
the closer your dew point is to the actual
Actually,
temperature, then you have the better chances of seeing fog. And so it's all has to do with moisture and
yeah.
the dew point.
And so you can have these foggy days where you're just socked in with zero visibility. Let's just take a look at
Yeah.
what's going on here in Florida, and we'll just click on Lakeland, and it'll tell you their visibility. So it's overcast, and the visibility is 9 miles, so it's not that foggy. But there's enough fog. They do have the dense fog advisory. Maybe it has, and this is actually not, they say it's burned off. I've seen TV meteorologists say they hate that terminology, it burned off. But it makes sense because as you begin to warm the air, the ability for it to hold more moisture increases and the fog literally starts to dissipate. And you can see this very easily, folks. Steam up your mirror in your bathroom, take a good hot shower, get that mirror nice and steamy, get the hair dryer, aim it at that mirror and watch the moisture. You create a hole so you can see yourself. Same kind of thing. You are increasing the mirror's capacity to hold moisture. And so the moisture, and part of it is evaporation, of course, but the air warms up and the ability for it to hold more moisture increases. Whereas at night, you have all that moisture in the air, your dew point is high, your temperature cools to near the dew point level, and you get a cloud at ground level, and we call that fog. Sometimes it's very wispy, it's very ghostly looking. Over here in Texas, dense fog advisory with the vicinity of the Gulf. No surprise there. And down here, there we go. This is what I was looking
Oh,
for.
there we go.
Visibility,
Yeah.
point 15 miles, and fog. I've seen Shoals Field. I know exactly where that is. I was very close to that during Hurricane Ike. I could see the light from it, the tower. But anyway, dense fog advisory for there. And the big reason behind all of this is this warm weather that we're experiencing here. Pretty much, we can't say east of the Mississippi entirely. We'll just call it east of the Rockies.
Mhm.
All this warm weather uh, and the moisture. We're still in winter, so the nights are still long, and you're still cooling those temperatures down at night. So it's just real easy to squeeze out that moisture at ground level, and we get fog. So just be wary of that if you're out and about. Again, just kind of showing you some of these areas around the country. This is up in Illinois and vicinity. Let's just click on eastern Iowa here. Clinton. So here we got freezing fog with a visibility of a quarter mile. And that's another really easy one to understand. It's those little water droplets, and they stick to stuff, especially metallic and other surfaces, trees and whatnot, and it freezes.
Yeah. Freezing fog is just the worst because
Yeah,
it's just the little bits of mist and water droplets in the fog, and those elevated surfaces can get slick quick, and it may not look like it's doing anything, but it just a little bit can cause big problems. And this has been a multi-night and early morning thing here,
yes,
Mark, where we've been
yeah,
dealing with the fog because of the warm air coming in. And of course, that all that warm air and moisture in place sets the stage for this big system to bump right into it
yes,
and cause some problems this latter part of the week.
yeah, that's true. It's a good way to. Um, we're going to segue into that moisture. You have to have that fuel source, and this is sort of a sign of things to come. It's going to be interesting. I was thinking about freezing fog, and it starts to get the wheels turning. You get rime ice and hoarfrost. Terrible name for that, but that's what it's called. Um, and the comedian in me wants to really have fun with that, but I'm not. Um, it's frost that anyway. Um,
That's,
uh,
maybe you should start a different show,
if
like
this whole
Mark said it
YouTube,
after dark or
yeah, I
something.
mean, believe me, I've got ideas for stand-up comedy. I, I threatened to do it when I turned 50, but the stupid pandemic was at the same exact time as that in 2020. And I was seriously, I wrote a bunch of content. I was going to try it out here in Wilmington at the Dead Crow with my friend Mike Farrow. And then we had the pandemic, which probably saved the world from some of the worst comedy you might have ever seen. So we'll never know. I don't know. Maybe when I'm
Never know.
60, I'll give it
There
a
we
shot.
go.
So
Yes.
I've written a few bits, and Hoarfrost could be a great introduction to weather and comedy. But I would like to get Tom Nizzle or Niziol. Do you know how you say that man's name? Nizzle?
I think it's Nizzle.
Nizzle.
I
Uh,
think.
I
Yeah.
think he lives up there near Roan Mountain. But, so my question is, does the freezing fog give us that rime ice? I mean, it makes sense because it's clouds kind of moving through trees and stuff, and those water droplets. And in this case, it's a little bit of a breeze, and so you get that like the day after tomorrow poster.
Hmm.
The Statue of Liberty has all that rime ice that's like pointed in one direction. That's an extreme example. But yeah, another mental note. I have to get Tom on sometime and talk about freezing fog and rime ice and hoarfrost. Really interesting photographs that people have taken over the years of some of that phenomena in the mountains. But anyway, foggy out there. Everything else, winter kind of loosening its grip, as you'd imagine, with it being so warm here in the east now. Just winter weather advisories. We can handle those, but still be aware. I think that replaced travelers advisories, if I'm not mistaken. And there's quite a few of the winter weather advisories all throughout the Intermountain West, winter storm warnings in northwestern New Mexico. Finally got to meet my friend Eric Webb when he was in North Carolina over Christmas break. He's back in Las Cruces and vicinity, hoping to see him during severe weather and monsoon season. And who knows, Jen, you might be on an expedition with us when Eric's out there at the same time. I could have spent 2 weeks with the guy if he would have tolerated it. He's such an amazing communicator, and even in person, just very fun and easy to talk to about weather and a little bit of sports because he played hockey at NC State. But anyway, what's
That's
happening
awesome.
in California? Let's see real quick. That would be extreme cold watch. Seriously? What?
Mhm.
For California? I gotta read this. I'm sorry. Like, what is going on? Extreme cold watch in effect late Thursday night through Friday morning. Very cold conditions. Temperatures in the upper 20s. Oh,
Mhm. For San
like,
Francisco Bay, yeah.
so look, make light of it as I am, sort of. Upper 20s. Um, you know, uh, Presque Isle or whatever it was, Maine at -8 would like a word, right? Like, wait till we look at Green Bay, Wisconsin, and when we get to the Bears game that we're going to talk about, the Packers Bears game. But that's really interesting. So why do you think that it's an extreme cold watch? We'll talk about this a little bit, the human impact. I guess they're just not used to it that much. And we got to face some realities here. There is no, it's a big area, so we're not singling out San Francisco, but there is a homeless population out there that needs to be taken into consideration, correct?
Yeah.
And upper
And
20s is
absolutely.
problematic.
Well, and I just did a quick search for you. Normal low in San Francisco is 46. So it's well below average. If you were just to look at January 7th's record low temperature is 34. So they're going to be
Right.
in record territory if they do get down into the upper
That's
20s and upper.
really weird. I
Yeah,
didn't know this. Like,
yeah,
this got past me. So I'm glad we're talking about it today.
yeah.
So, any of the, George Lucas lives up through here somewhere. You got the Skywalker Ranch. Lots of tech bros in the area. They can afford the nice jackets. Then that's the truth. But
Yeah.
yeah, King City. Let's just click on them. They're not available, so I blew that. But uh, 40 for tonight. So I clicked on something that's just.
Well, 32, it looks like this is for Thursday night, Friday. So it's
Oh
32
yeah, yeah.
there Thursday
Sorry.
night.
Right there it is. It's in the
Yeah.
future. So yeah, 30s and 20s in the area. Some extreme cold watch for California. I never thought I would see that. And then is this the Thule fog that's back again, perhaps? Quarter mile at the Fresno terminal. So foggy there in parts of the Central Valley once again. All right, moving on along. I want to just look at sort of little miscellaneous things. I've got to come up with a clever title for this and put a title card up there. Odds and ends, whatever. So James Cinco, who I've interacted with a little bit on the Twitter, and he follows me. I appreciate that. Should follow him back at some point, especially since he's into drones. Hmm. Because we're working on some drone stuff. But anyway, he posts really, really cool stuff, and just should just throw him in as a follow Friday. Maybe I'll do just that. But here's some of the things that he does. He works at the Weather Service, and really cool images and videos, and just there he is. Didn't mean to turn this into the James Cinco show, but I really liked this photo that he posted up here of the snow. I know you just left that, Jen, so you might want to like
I
shy
might want.
away. But
Uh,
yeah, it's what does it say? Mallett's Bay. And he tagged National Weather Service Burlington. I guess he's in Vermont in this situation. Hey, good morning, BTV. Not sure what that is. That's got to be a local thing. Hey,
Burlington.
gotcha. Thank you. Got 4.9 inches of wet snow here in Mallett's Bay, and he's in Vermont. So that's thought I'd show you guys that a pretty wintry scene. Now, switching up from winter weather and snow to something shocking, quite literally. Uh, Anytime in meteorology that we can use, what is that? It's not an onomatopoeia. That's a different thing altogether. But what do you call that when you say, like, you're in the business, they say shocking?
Oh,
There's a
I
name
don't.
for that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, like a pun type of thing.
Fun. There you go.
Yeah,
Wordplay.
wordplay.
I got to get the. This is why I can't do comedy because I couldn't remember my bits. Shocking news out of Dylan Federico and lots of other people have been talking about this. Florida no longer number one as the lightning capital of the United States. They have been dethroned, and it is now the Sooner State of Oklahoma. And this is all measured through a network. That's another good one for Tech Tuesdays. Talk about how that's done. But yeah, I saw this, and several people. Matt Devitt was talking about it as well. Oklahoma overtakes Florida as a new lightning capital of the USA. Why do you think that is, Jen? We're just, and I'll look at one of the comments. There's a hint in the comments as to why, but I mean,
Yeah.
the obvious thing is a lack of thunderstorms in the last year, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I guess
Yeah.
it's enough so that Florida's lost their trophy. They're going to have to ship it over to Oklahoma.
And that's the only thing I can think of is, the lack of that, or I don't know, because I know there's a couple of groups out there that do measure the lightning strikes, and so
Mhm.
I don't know. What does the chat say?
Yeah, really, you guys. But let me show you what the Twitter comments.
Yeah.
It rained like 4 times in South Florida in the last 12 months. Not
Mhm.
surprised.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, well, that'll do
So
it.
seriously, the drought that we're seeing,
Yeah,
this is all connected. There
yeah.
you go. And so it's pretty darn dry in Florida, Oklahoma. I don't know their drought situation, but it's been very stormy there. And there is a vast network. It shows up in our radar scope, the little lightning bolts, etc. So something cool to talk about down the road a piece. Maybe even having, I think, what is it? Is it Valsala? I can't remember the name. There's a company
Mm-hmm.
that does the lightning detection. And you know what? I think Matt Devitt, I'm just going to search him up, talked about that in his post about this. So let's find out. Hey, there's some fog for you. 16 minutes ago from Punta Gorda.
Ooh, Fogbow.
Fogbow.
Cool. Let's
All
see.
right. Um, let's see. Matt, there it is. The United States. Let's see. I thought it was where he talked about it. Who measures it? Oh well, I missed it. Saw it somewhere. But we'll look into that. Maybe you guys know on the YouTube chat. So this is cool. We get the top four. Matt expanded upon it a little bit. Oklahoma's number one, Florida's number two, Louisiana number three, with Kansas at number four. 88.4 million total lightning flashes, not point 0.5, Jen, but point 0.4. 9.8% increase. And we laugh, I'm joking about it, but there is a network, and that's going to be top priority to research this, and I'll report back soon on a Tech Tuesday. How in the world do we keep track of this stuff? I
Yeah,
will tell you.
yeah.
All right, one of my favorite tools, and I try to teach our audience this, especially during hurricane season, reading the discussions. What does Span say? Read the blog, read the discussion. We have become a society of wanting everything handed to us and infographics, and I need it in 10 seconds or less, whatever. We still need to read. And real men and women, they do exist still, create discussions. It's not all AI generated or formats or just fill in the blank. And one of my favorites outside of the tropical cyclone discussions are the area forecast discussions, and they are changing the formats. And I wanted to make you aware of this. So the old format is your synopsis, your near term, short term, long term aviation, marine, so forth and so on. The new format, and Jen, I think this is great for communication.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have key messages in each part of the overall subset.
Love it.
Awesome. So let me
Mm-hmm.
show you all real quick what this looks like. Let's just pick. Jen, where should I pick in the country to click on? Any state.
Pick on Alabama.
All right. We'll do South Central Alabama, and we will go to Tuscaloosa. Why not? And so this is how you find such things. You scroll down, and there it is, the forecast discussion. And this is the way it is now. It's your discussion, your synopsis first, then your discussion. Sometimes in each WFO has a little bit of a leeway. Once in a while, you get like a little updated here, like what's new or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, and there are some key messages showing up here, but this is going to be more ubiquitous. But your discussion, and then you have your aviation weather, your fire weather, and then if there's ever any coastal storms or whatnot, there might be flooding stuff. But that's how it looks now. But in the future, it looks as if I guess they are all going to start going to this format where your key messages are up top, and then each subtopic will have its own key message, and that will be impact based, quickly identifying what is different, and allows the readers read people. It's good for you. It keeps the brain going too.
Yes.
Allows readers to understand the potential scenarios for each impact. So that's
Love it.
good.
This is
Good.
great. And let me tell you, for those who don't know, my other job, my main job, how I support myself is a radio broadcaster. So I broadcast on about 55 cities around the country. I do not have time to
Right.
forecast for every town. So the National Weather Service is there. I read the forecast discussions, and I can only get the forecasts. I have maybe 20, 25 seconds. That's all I
Right.
have. So having those key messages and consistency, because a lot of the times the forecast discussions for years have been all over the place.
Right.
Everyone did something different. So to have this consistency, to have the key messages, I think it's going to help broadcasters, it's going to help the public. And yes, it is real forecasters. They put their name on those discussions. Did you see the one from the National Weather Service in Dodge City around Christmas time, where the guy wrote "'Twas the night before Christmas"?
Yes.
That was so
Some,
fantastic.
yes.
I
And
loved
sometimes
it.
they will put codes in where the first letter of each paragraph, when you single them out, will spell out Merry Christmas or, Go Packers or whatever.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's so
Crimson Tide.
That's
Roll
right.
Tide.
Roll Tide. There, it's such creativity,
Yeah.
and the National Weather Service is amazing. These guys are working hard,
Hmm.
and I love seeing this change, Mark.
Yeah. And it tells you at the bottom, sometimes with just initials or just a last name,
Hmm.
who wrote it. And that's important because it tells you that there are real people living in your community that are writing this stuff up. And, I have the privilege and the honor of hanging out with some of these people from time to time. And it's a really neat thing because they care. It's their community. And as Jen said, they can be creative but at the end of the day, they have your best interest at heart. But this will be nice because it'll be a format that is more standardized and so forth, and it'll be helpful. So again, back to the point, do this on your own sometimes. Read these things. You learn a lot. They highlight different things that are in there, and you can really glean what you need to know for your local area. All right, moving on along to INSO news. INSO, for those of you playing at home, El Nino Southern Oscillation, and it's coming. We got this El Nino that'll be inbound, and Ben Knoll tweeted about it, so I thought I would show you. A westerly wind burst, and I love this. Spark plugs for El Nino. Excellent way to put
Hmm.
it, Ben.
Hmm.
Look plentiful in the months ahead, and boy, his map making and his animations, absolutely so easy to just tell the story. So your westerly winds, these are your zonal winds, and the 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 INSO regions are spelled out here. He's outlined those. And the main area that we're looking at is the Nino 3.4, which is right through here. And this is a GIF animation or GIF, whatever you want to call it. And as you get to June, this is the zonal wind outlook for June compared to average, much stronger, and this is from the west here, so that's that westerly wind. Or basically, another way to look at this is a slackening of the trade winds. And when that happens, by May, the trades look greatly reduced, halting the upwelling of cold water and enabling El Nino growth. So that will help to stunt Caribbean and Western MDR hurricane development. It won't eliminate it, so don't go canceling your flood insurance and most people can't cancel wind and hail, unfortunately, but like if your mortgage is paid off and I'll cancel my hurricane insurance this year. No, don't do that because nobody knows where they're going to end up, whatever it does for them. And we could have 3 or 4 right near the U.S. You just never know. But this El Nino coming on is going to have significant impacts on lower 48 weather and even global weather because this is going to be a giant thermostat that gets turned up because we're going to switch from this. We'll look at it on a global, I say a global scale, maybe, maybe not. I guess the NOAA server not working today, so we'll just look at what we've got here, and it'll probably pop up right when I get into this. But there's your La Nina there, and that's colder than average right now, and this is going to switch all the computer models, all the guidance, it's all heading that direction. Basically, you're going to have that color down here. It's going to be replaced. And Jen, that is a big change. It's going to add a lot more moisture in the tropics. It's going to have severe weather implications depending on how soon it comes in. And Mexico, the Baja, Southwest US for monsoon moisture and tropical cyclone activity in the East Pac. A lot of implications to this as we go forward. So a really telltale post here from Ben Knoll. Now, as far as tornadoes, this is your realm. Um, is there a correlation between La Nina, El Nino in terms of tornado activity? Is it the in-between part? and I know you're more about the history rather than the
Yeah.
actual mechanics of it,
Yeah, this
but
is not
you
my
know,
wheelhouse, sadly. I'm more of your forecaster,
right,
not but it does have an impact. I mean, there have been the stronger El Nino years. There have been an increase in some tornadoes in different sectors of the country, depending on, where the warmth comes in and where
right,
the instability. But I think there were El Nino years for some of the Florida increase, so the
right.
southeast having some
That makes a
increase.
big, and since you're in Florida, that certainly makes sense. Like we think
Hmm.
97 into 98,
That was
and we
huge.
had big outbreak there in 1998.
Hmm.
That one of those went through like Fruitland or somewhere, right?
Yeah, that was the night of the Twisters in February 1998. It devastated Kissimmee, Florida, and up in that area. So there were several significant tornadoes that occurred that year. I don't know. One that CJ and I were researching was 1966. I do not know if that was an El Nino year, but that was when the strongest Florida tornado occurred. It was an F4.
Well, we do know that El Nino typically helps to strengthen the subtropical jet. And once you get that involved, you help that southwesterly flow come in, and that helps to plant a big part of the atmosphere rolling. And so as this La Nina starts to collapse, and I'll throw a little sports whatever in here, the La Nina will probably collapse about as bad as Louisville did last night against Duke, making that comeback. Just like in 2019, quick sports story, uh, Duke was down 23 at Louisville, and I turned the TV off. Zion Williamson was playing, and I was like, that's it. I just, guys, what do you, I was ready for bed. I literally was laying in my bed. I gave up because I didn't want the blood pressure to keep going up. I was really getting upset. And I was like, I'm out. And I know, oh, big Duke fan you are. Well, sometimes you got to look after your health. You really do.
Hmm.
And get very upset. And I didn't want to hurt an animal, or I'm kidding. But so for real, I did. I tucked into the covers and I'm like, I'm out. I might look on Gamecast on ESPN and just peek, but I'm not going to watch it. And the main thing, I didn't want to watch Louisville fans storm the court.
Right.
Okay.
I get
And then
it.
my son texted me a string of curse words uh, of like, blah, 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 blah. They're coming back. I'm like, stop it. I said. Anyway, Duke ended up winning that game by two. And the same similar thing happened last night. Duke was
Oh,
down 13 in the first half. It was just horrible. I'm like, who is this? And I was getting very upset. We got to halftime and I thought, all right, I have other stuff to do. So I turned the TV off and uh, I did a quick check on Gamecast. Nobody texted me this. No, maybe it was my son. Whatever. Anyway, Duke came back and won last night by 12, I think. Anyway, so the La Nina collapsing like Louisville against Duke. Where I was trying to go with that. The cardiac pack, man. I mean, I know that's what they call NC State from time to time, but sports, football at least is more drawn out,
hmm
like basketball is just the every point 7 seconds. And of course, Auburn got robbed. And if you know, you
Oh, I missed
know.
that. No, I didn't see
Oh,
that.
last night they should have given them that. It was a 36-foot shot against Texas A&M, and the ref said that there was no time on the clock, and it went in. And Auburn should have won by one, but they took it back, and Auburn lost.
Oh,
Oh well. Anyway, so there's your look at INSO and sports for college basketball. Moving on to severe weather. So this is going to be something we really need to watch as we get into Thursday and Friday, especially Friday. So Noah Berggren, he's down there in Florida. Really good post. I like his stuff. Very straightforward and can be nice and vocal when it's time, but doesn't do it just for the sake of doing it. Very comfortable in his forecast, and when the big stuff comes, he's going to let you know. And so Thursday's setup, he said, may yield a warning or two in Missouri or Southwest Illinois. But candidly, he said, I don't really see it. Seen that setup many times living there, and that helps when you're from an area, right?
yeah.
Too much shear for too little CAPE, and that is the convectively available potential energy, CAPE. storms will get ripped apart and fail to get tall enough, which is a good thing if you don't want to have to deal with severe weather. Friday, on the other hand, looks a much more favorable chance for severe storms, although discrete storms will be limited. And that's really important, ladies and gentlemen, when these are all by themselves and they can work with a favorable environment, that's when you can have some big problems, really big problems. So discrete supercells probably limited. As quickly the mode turns to giant squall line, and those could be damaging. You can have embedded tornadoes within there, certainly, but damaging wind gusts will be the most likely scenario, with a few embedded tornadoes of EF0 through 2 possible, mainly in Mississippi and far western Alabama. So, Span and company,
Mm-hmm.
I would say get your sleep now, but the man never sleeps. So,
Nope. He does not. I don't know how he does that. I like sleep.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly. But really good insight from people that know. And that's
yeah,
so important these days because there's a lot of people that pretend like they know and a lot of people that want to just go the other way completely. And, there's disinformation. But this is good stuff and just a good way to understand it as we look ahead. And this is what the SPC is showing. This is today's outlook. And, if this was like May,
mm-hmm.
we'd be doing the show from Childress at the Hampton Inn, probably.
Hey, you got that right. Would not be a
Um,
marginal risk either.
exactly. Exactly. And if so, probably wouldn't be in Childress, but somebody would be. The tornado threat for today, less than 2%, which is good. And that helps Jen to have hope that she will eventually catch up. She'll never finish the tornado history project because there's just too much.
That's right.
But, you know, at least today it won't add to it.
Exactly.
The wind threat, though, is, somewhat there, and the hail potential, a little bit of hail, but nothing to be too concerned with. And then a little bit of convective activity way out here in the Pacific Northwest. And then day two, which is Thursday. And this is what Mr. Bergen was talking about, the tornado threat, 2% over a pretty large area. And so we got to watch this. And so if you live here, you know people here, share this, talk to them, make sure they're aware. We're very busy. That's a big part of what I try to preach. We are so consumed with daily activities, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not knocking you. If you're busy, you're busy, but you do have to pay attention to the weather, otherwise it'll get you. And we don't want it to do that. The wind and the hail threat also get elevated tomorrow. And assuming that I'm going to be in the office in enough time to do the show, because I'm busy too, got kids I got to pick up in the afternoon, and I'm very busy tomorrow morning, we'll definitely talk about this. Day three, though, Jen, that's where it looks to be more problematic.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have the probabilistic for now. The categorical will, and the different breakdowns we'll have available tomorrow. But CJ, assuming he recovers from his illness, everybody's ill these days. You were ill recently. I seem to be the only one who's escaped it.
Oh,
Knock
you
on
just,
plastic.
that's right. Exactly. Don't speak too soon.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm a little the wording from the Storm Prediction Center has increased with this threat. I'd be really curious to see the latest update when it comes out.
Right.
Just it'll be what, but next within the hour or a
Yeah.
couple hours. But they've started, there's still a lot of uncertainty, but there's still a chance that we could have some of those individual supercells form, and
Yep.
that's when you have that better chance for a tornado. So that's something to monitor. Then I think it could gel into that line, and you could have still
Right.
the QLCS mess
Right.
with the quick spinnies along the line.
Right.
And so that's something to be concerned about. But it's certainly the strongest system we've had in a bit to
Yep.
cause this type of a severe weather scenario with a
Yeah.
large area. I think if you are in Mississippi and then even extending over toward, Huntsville to Birmingham, pretty good shot that you're going to see some nasty storms, and just a lot has to happen here to get all the ingredients together. This is what we watch every time. But yes, you can get tornadoes in January. We've had huge outbreaks that have occurred in January. And so hopefully it's not going to be that type of a scenario, but even one tornado for your
Right.
area, that could be the story for you. And so you need to be
Right.
weather ready. Make sure you get those weather radios out, get the dust off of them,
Right.
Keep them by you. Make sure you have those running. Make sure you have multiple ways of getting warnings. Those WIA alerts on your phone. Maybe if you have a service like Weather Call, get the app
Yeah.
for Mississippi. We've got Matt Lawband now within the
Yeah.
Mississippi Network. You've got the Alabama Weather Network. There's
Yep.
plenty of opportunities to know what's going to happen.
Yep.
So get ready.
And my friends at Fox Weather, of course, that's live, free, right on their app. It's on YouTube. A lot of
Absolutely.
these other folks you guys know who they are. And this is where I implore people, you've got to take that responsibility occasionally to help yourself. If I ever get lucky enough to have Tom Cruise come on the show and have him do the help me, help you, help me, the Jerry Maguire line, that'll be a great day if we can get Mr. Cruz to just do a cameo
Absolutely.
for us. Never going to happen, but the point is, you do have to help yourself sometimes, and we are helping you, giving you these clues. Later on, you have to just sometimes use this device. You have the entirety of the world's information right here, whether it's an Apple or a Samsung, and even if you have the old Walter White flip phone from Breaking Bad, I bet you can text somebody from that and ask them what's going on.
Yep.
Seriously, this is there's no excuse to be caught unaware.
Right.
Really, no matter your economic status or your education level, everybody can speak. And even if it's not English, you find out what is happening. Ask somebody because there's a lot of weather geeks out there and they will be glad to tell you.
Yep.
Believe me. So we'll be addressing this more and more and then certainly on Friday, we'll be all over this. And hopefully Friday, depending on what you're doing, it could be you, myself, and CJ,
Sure.
and we're going to talk about this quite in depth, break it down, look at some of the CAMS models, the convectively allowing models,
That's
basically your
right.
high resolution models, and so forth. Um, Trying to remember. Oh yeah, we're going to move into there it is, the Bears Packers game update. I was trying to remember why did I have Google Maps up? This is why. There's Green Bay, Wisconsin, and why I said it like that, I don't know. Just thought I would, but it's up there on the northwest part of Lake Michigan, north of Milwaukee, but it's up there in northeastern Wisconsin, which is in the northern tier of our country. And I bring this up because there was a post here from Noah the other day, Mr. Bergren, about that game coming up on Saturday, possibly being marred by rather inclement weather. So let me point out where Green Bay is right there. And the Chicago Bears and the Packers are going to be playing. No strangers, Chicago sitting right in here, to wintry weather. But the fans, you're going to have to endure this. So this is the GFS valid Saturday. This is Saturday morning. So if you're headed out to the game, Saturday afternoon, and then right around game time, snowy. So if you're
Mhm.
watching on TV and you see it snowing, you can say, I knew that was going to happen. And your friends will be very impressed or not. How did you know? But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a little bit windy, especially if the game goes really, 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 really late. But yeah, anybody traveling home, very seriously here,
Yeah.
these isobars, lines of equal pressure, packed in tight like that, tells me that you have a pretty good pressure gradient and it's going to be windy and the winds are going to be out of the north to northeast, whatever. And some of these gradients in here from Dr. Cowan's legend signify some decent snow rates. Not crazy, but you don't need crazy amounts of snow to make travel difficult, especially if you've been living it up at the game. Be extra careful driving home because you want to go to the next game. And if you're dead on the side of the road, you can't. Seriously, we're trying to help you. So look at that. Jen, would you sit in the stadium? What is that, Lambeau Field or whatever?
No. And
No?
I am a football fan. I'm a college football fan. If it was
Right.
Penn State's national championship game or something, and I would sit there. Other than that, no. I That's just not my cup of tea.
I've never been to an NFL game. I've been to a
Mhm.
few college games and a few college basketball games, some soccer games for my son, etc. But um, tough crowd out there that likes to sit in that kind of stuff. I remember one of the games last year was in Kansas City, and they had that viral video. It was like single digits or whatever, and people were opening their drinks and then it would immediately do that. I can't remember the stupid terminology for it. I gotta commit it to memory. You know, where it's liquid, but when you disturb it, the ice starts to like spill down and it turns into slush. And
Mm.
then and then the video was the drinks are literally turning into ice as soon as you take them out of the refrigerators, like they were making it into more of a big deal than it was. Again, another one for Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's physics. It's
Right.
not it's not that cold. It's not day after tomorrow. It's not minus 70. But anyway, this is going to be oh, and speaking of how cold it might be, let's just look at that. At least a little bit of an idea of the 2 meter temperatures. 20s, 30, about 30 with a wind, so not ridiculous.
No, they've had
But
worse.
I mean, the freezing line is right there, for goodness sake. So, but nevertheless, be prepared for that. And I'll probably tune into that game for various reasons. And first, to see the snow that we've been talking about for a couple of days here, just to see it verify. All right, if we start to wrap things up for today's show, finally, a couple of algorithm-based storms showed up in my Twitter feed. That's exactly what it was. I literally heard about these through my algorithm on the For You part of Twitter. And one of these is from, if it'll show back up again, are we? There we go. Connor's Climate Corner. Major winter update with these alarm things up here. It always, gets your attention.
Hmm.
That is the whole point of the algorithm. It serves up something that you should find interesting and different things trip it and so forth. It's a closely guarded secret amongst social media companies. But here it is. And we start off with all caps, wow, but no exclamation point. So it's just wow. Anyway, not making fun of Connor at all. We're just kind of looking at it
As it is.
and unpacking it. But I'm not trying to besmirch anyone here. You can have fun with it. So what's happening? Well, Connor says global ensemble guidance has come into strong agreement on a very negative EPO, East Pacific Oscillation, I think, developing late in the third week of January, signaling a large high amplitude Alaskan ridge. And just breaking this down, what that big Alaskan ridge would do is help to displace the cold air that's up there because two things can't occupy the same space. It dislodges that cold air, sends it potentially south and east into the lower 48, which is what he goes on to say here. What this pattern could lead to significant disruption of the polar vortex, Arctic air flooding into the U.S., so forth and so on. Note, these are ensembles, not single operational or control runs, a couple weeks out. The consistency and growing consensus make this pattern worth watching closely. So overall, Jen, I think this is a very well worded, non
Hmm.
BS. Well, again, fine line trying to judge people and be some kind of a gatekeeper, but I think this is very informational and very helpful. I like the use of maps and the simplicity of it, and
Yeah.
it will give us something to be watching for.
Yeah. Very well written.
Yes,
This is it was it's not dramatic.
right,
It's not saying this is going to happen. It is,
right,
hey, we're kind of watching some.
right.
I have no
There's
problem with
nothing
the post.
hyperbolic about it.
No, I like those
Right.
posts.
And clearly, Connor is into the weather. So I'm going
Hmm.
to make a note and so forth. And one of the plans for the show in the long term is to eventually have people like Connor come on and talk about their love for the weather. And if this doesn't happen, would you be disappointed? And if it does happen, what are you looking forward to? I just think all that's just really neat. Like, why does Connor post this? Yeah, because
Hmm.
clearly somebody who's into the weather. And that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Instead of like trying to call people out, oh, you're just doing this for likes, clicks, and views. This is a weather geek. This is somebody who's into the weather. So let's
Hmm.
see if this is something we can latch on to, um, and that we do get some cold weather in the east because a lot of people are complaining. They are that there's not much winter weather. I've seen it,
Yeah.
and it has economic impacts too on a lot of different levels. But anyway, we'll watch this as we go forward. Good post from Connor. Also, PA Weather Plus. And I thought this one was interesting. We're waking up still to a rather solid signal of a coastal storm next week as a deep trough digs into the southeastern U.S., favoring a supportive zone for a low pressure system to track up the east coast. Since we are not playing with a lot of true cold air, boy, that's the truth. The signal highly favors the interior. Everybody loves those interior, not. Um, it would take a stronger storm to pull in colder air closer to the I-95 corridor. That's your snow belt, really. Still a long way to go, but happy to see the signal starting to come to fruition. A couple things to point out. When you say that about winter weather, and a lot of people do, happy to see a signal for big time winter weather. Very few people get upset. And I understand why. But if I were to post, happy to see a favorable MJO where we could have a hurricane outburst, people will probably stand outside my house picketing me.
That's right.
It's interesting because winter weather adversely affects people. People die, but we don't have the same uproar about people getting excited over winter weather. Same thing with I'm happy to see a high risk of severe weather.
That's right.
People would be very upset with said person.
That's right.
It's just weird how the human,
It
yeah.
is. It
Yep.
is hard to navigate sometimes.
Yes. So, but that's why we're here to dissect it and make sure people navigate the weather, whether it's benign or malignant. Either way, we get you through it. So, yeah, the signal is starting to show up. So I thought I'd look at the old GFS, at least the operational. This is from the 6Z run, and we move this out through time. And there's one storm system that's going to bring that wintry weather to Green Bay. That gets on out of here, and the severe weather shows up a little bit too, if you know what you're looking for. Oh, we jumped to this 12Z. Let's go back. Thank you. But what about this coastal storm? So there it is. It's your typical Miller A getting started down here in the Northwest Gulf. And I can see some pretty low heights up here. So there is certainly polar jet energy and enough of a subtropical jet. I'm just deducing things here. Does it make sense? And off it goes. The storm develops. And lo and behold, that's a nice one, but it is interior, cutting up through the interior instead of offshore. So that's going to piss everybody off in coastal Jersey and Delmarva vicinity. So there it is. Let's just park it right about there. And let's look at this was the 6Z run. This is 234 hours out. What about the 0Z last night? I say, what about the zero? Hello. Really, you're going to fail me? You're really going to do that to me? I had it ready to go earlier. Yeah, it's just not showing up. Is it my internet? I still have Jen. I don't know, maybe Tidbits. Well, that completely collapsed on me. The 0Z showed nothing. You're currently offline. Bull hockey, I'm not offline. You're offline. You're out of line. Tell me I'm offline.
Oh man.
Well,
Well,
Tidbits is offline. See ya. So, I mean, I'm still talking to somebody
yeah.
900 miles away. I'm not offline. Whatever. Screwed up my punchline here. See, that's why I will never make it as a stand-up comedian because I won't remember my closer and I'll bomb just like this. Point is, we'll be watching for this. I'd love a good coastal storm, but right now the deterministic model that PA Weather Plus was talking about was the 6Z. It was not on the 0Z, but we'll see. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. I'd love to see the signal to do something. You know, the weather has been pretty marginal lately in terms of impact, which is good, obviously. But for the weather weenies and so forth, the snow removal companies and the ice truck people, we're all bored. And there might be a sign, some of this energy here showing up. Maybe, see, Twitter's working. I'm going to try one more time, Jen.
Okay.
Hey, there it is. All right, we're back. So let's go to the 6Z. Let's get it out here to where we were. All right, so there it is. That's the 6Z run. And if we go back to the 0Z, it's not there.
It's not there. There we
And
go.
it wasn't on yesterday's 18 and so forth and so on. So we got some work to do to go from this to this.
Yeah.
And the 12Z, we're not far enough along in time. Nope, not even close. But it'll be something we'll look for, and we'll talk about it some more tomorrow. Any thoughts from you before we let you go? And thank you for helping me out today. I just think it's more fun,
Yeah, I had
not just
fun.
me.
No, and I'll come on Friday. I'd love to have the three of us. Hopefully,
Yep.
CJ's feeling better, and we can talk about the severe weather. I would have already done a lot of my radio.
Right.
I have a lot of stations that are in that
Yeah.
risk, and so I'm really curious to see how things unfold. And We'll be tracking it with Tornado Talk. We do a little bit of live coverage on our Discord server,
Yep.
and then we follow stuff on Twitter as well. I don't do a lot on Facebook because you'll end up seeing a warning a week later in your
Yeah.
Facebook book feed,
Yeah.
and so but Twitter is still the one that's more real time. But
Sure.
no, I think this is great. I'm here for the month, Mark. I've got a couple of places I want to pop on and show you, and I'm hoping
Yeah.
CJ and I can get down to Minnesota Key. And then
Yep.
he and I are just real quick are doing research on this 1966 event. What appears to be several tornado families that went through it. Thomas Gruzulis, in Significant Tornadoes, has 3 listings in his book. 2 are tornado families, and 1 is just an individual tornado. The first tornado family went through Pinellas, Hillsborough, Polk, into Osceola counties. It was an F4, and the path length is listed at about 135
100 miles. I was going to say, the thing you
Yeah.
sent me, literally, the killer tornadoes leave a path of destruction across Central Florida for over 100 miles.
Yeah.
And you think about how wide the peninsula is, that pretty much covers it.
That's right. And then there was another one that tracked south. So they were parallel tracks.
Right.
And then there was the last one went to the Atlantic coast. So there were tornadoes that crossed the entire state from west to east, from Gulf to Atlantic. 11 fatalities in that first tornado. We're going to go up toward the Tampa Bay area. And so he wants to document our whole
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So he really wants to learn. He's a great supporter of what you do and what
Yeah.
we do as well. He's such a great kid, and I'm looking forward to hanging out a little bit more when he doesn't have whatever he has.
Yes. Stay
Get on the
away
other
from us. Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
anyway, but yeah,
Well,
let's hang out
that'll be
Friday.
exciting. Yeah. And I like calling, I think he's 30 now. That's cool to call somebody who's 30 a kid.
Well, he could
Somebody,
be.
oh, it's Eric. Eric, I had dinner with him. I think he just turned, over lunch the other day, he just turned 30. And happy birthday, Eric Webb, by the way.
Yay.
And I remember he said something, he was like, he goes, I'm getting old. I'm just like, I'm gonna do that. Let me see if I've got the meme. It's not a meme, it's a picture. Bear with me, people. It's my comedic mind. Yeah. When he said that, I wanted to
Yes, that's perfect.
turn into Javier Bardem or whatever his name is, Bardem. 30. I'll take it. Anyway,
I'll take 30.
at 55, I'm doing just fine. Thank you very much. Well, Jen, thanks for hanging out with me, and thanks to everybody on the YouTube chat. Good to see everybody. And don't forget, I remind you, you have friends, you have family, you have people that follow you, more than likely. And so share either when we're live or when we're done. And especially when we get to something that's going to be high impact, which looks like Friday will be our first sort of big news-making weather event that we cover leading up to. And as far as tomorrow goes, again, I'm kind of busy in the morning. Hopefully get in here in the afternoon. But I will post something on our Discord and on the YouTube community thing. Our friend Howard keeps reminding me to use that to let people know when you're going to have a program change or whatever. But I won't just ghost everybody. Where'd he go? And then we'll definitely be back on Friday and address the severe weather potential for the areas that we outlined today, because that'll be very important. All right. Well, Jen, thanks for hanging out.
You bet. Had a
About
great time.
it for me. I will get back to, let's see if I can do this properly. Yeah, I can. And I will drop my video first. There I go. And my audio in a moment. Thanks, everybody, for Hurricane Track, our awesome community. And Jen Naramore, my co-host today. We appreciate you watching. I'm Mark Sudduth. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow, but definitely on Friday.